talent. And so I sent out a note, and then whoever shows up, shows up. So when I say that these 5 have sung all their lives, but they have not sung together ever before. So we've had either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 practices, depending on who's in here. And we're just excited because this song is such a message for right now. It's from 1985 when Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson got together with a whole bunch of other people about out of Africa kind of thing for the Black people. So here we are with We Are the World.
Whoops. We don't want whoops right away. There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as a one. There are people dying. It's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. 'Cause we can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We are all a part of God's great big family, and the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. When you're down and out, there seems no hope at all. But if you just believe, there's nowhere we can fall. Let us realize that a change can only come when we stand together as one. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a better day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
Send them your heart, so they'll know that someone cares, and their lives will be longer and free. As God has shown us, by turning stone to bread, so we all must lend a helping hand. Everybody! We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a better day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. One more time. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Yeah. Go. Let me help.
Wow, that was great. Thank you. What a way to start the morning. Thank you, thank you. Well, my name is Jermaine Haberman, and I'd like to welcome those of you who are here in person and our live streaming participants to Unity of Missoula. And as we begin our Sunday service, let's honor one another and take a few moments to greet each other with waves, nods, and hugs. Well, no hugs, but waves. So we're just showing the appreciation of love that we have for one another. As we move into the more formal part of our service, let's remember Unity of Missoula is a team ministry founded on the 5 basic principles of unity. God is all good and active in everything and everywhere. I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. I create my experiences by what I choose to think, what I feel, and believe. And through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. I do and give my best by living the truth I know. I make a difference. And I'm going to pass out some sign-up sheets. One is for hospitality and greeters for the month of September and October. And then World Day of Prayer is coming in less than 2 weeks, so please sign up for a shift, and that will be in the sanctuary. So thank you for all of those who are helping to make our spiritual homes so inviting with all of your service. This is a time in this service when we share together the reading of the Daily Word, and it's a bi-monthly meditation magazine published by Unity World Headquarters. And the word for today is let go and let God. I imagine wonderful new possibilities when I let go and let God. There were times when I wanted something so desperately that when it didn't happen, I sank into bitter disappointment. I told myself stories that left me stuck and resentful. It wasn't fair. It was a mistake. I missed my chance. I have come to look at those episodes in a different way. Now, when faced with an unwelcome outcome, I resist self-pity, and I let go and let God. I release my rigid expectations and use my imagination to envision all kinds of possibilities. Freed of the need to control, I trust divine order and divine timing. Letting go and letting God is my way of living my faith, welcoming grace and believing the best and highest outcomes are unfolding. I let go, let God, and know peace. And from Psalm 119, verse 18, open my eyes so that I may behold wondrous things out of your law. And for the announcements, there are a few things I want to tell you about this week. Next Sunday's service will feature Janine Flaughton. And our theme for next Sunday, September 6th, is Love in Action, which is also the theme for this year's World Day of Prayer on September 10th. And we invite you to put love into action by joining us in prayer on September 10th.
Green prayer lists are available in the foyer, and please take a moment to sign up for a shift in the sanctuary and help hold our loved ones, our community, and our world in prayer throughout the day. Your presence matters, your prayers matter, and together we can put love in action. Unapologetic manifestation. We are excited to study this book by Ken Daigle as a community beginning Sunday, September 13th. And we invite you to form small study groups and read along with us as we consciously create a brighter future individually and together. And if you would like a book and miss the book order, please reach out to Therese. And please help us downstairs after service for food, fun, and fellowship. Today's hospitality is provided by Donna Plovanik and Dave Andrus and Mark Kenny. Please be sure to thank them when you see them. We are so grateful to everyone who helps with hospitality. It's such a blessing to share a meal and connect with each other and get to know each other a little better. And we hope everyone will join us. Our online book group meets Mondays at 12:30, and they are reading The Awakened Way by Suzanne Geisman. And so please contact Nancy Leifer or Judy Crenshaw if you would like the link. Yes.
We finished the book.
Oh,
And we're taking a 2-week vacation until we start the new book with everybody else.
okay, perfect. So disregard what I just said. The in-person Unity Book Group meets Tuesdays at 12:30, and they're reading A Changed Mind by David Bauer. And A Course in Miracles study group meets Mondays at 2 p.m. at the home of Linda Andrus. And please see Linda if you need directions. We're not meeting this week. Okay. So possibly next week. Okay, great. A Course in Miracles beginners group meets Thursdays at 5:30 right here in the sanctuary. And Thursday's time of silent prayer and meditation for world peace is at 7 p.m. And please join us for 20 minutes of silent meditation as we visualize our world in blessed peace. And thanks so much to those of you who continue to support our Unity community through your tithes, love offerings. Your generous donations enable us to keep our building full of spiritual seekers and other community groups throughout the month. We appreciate you. Unity's 10% tithe on all income received each quarter is divided between and sent to help the missions of Unity headquarters, Unity Northwest Region, and local Missoula charities, as voted on annually by the board. Please hold them in your heart as we affirm our offering blessing, and I will affirm it once, and then you can repeat it with me. I open my heart to love. All that I give and all that I receive is blessed and multiplied from a joyful heart of love. Together, to love. All that I give and all that I receive is blessed and multiplied from a joyful heart of love. And would the greeters come forward and pass out the offering baskets? And before we move on to the talk for this week, I will affirm Unity's primary affirmation and ask you to join me for 2 more times. There is only one presence and one power in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Together, there is only one presence and one power in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And again, there is only one presence and one power in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. In addition, here is our Missoula Unity affirmation. I will affirm it once and ask you to join me by saying it together. We are Unity of Missoula. We are a radiating center of divine love, open and accessible to all. We are God's light, peace, and joy wherever we are. Together, we are Unity of Missoula. We are a radiating center of divine love, open and accessible to all. We are God's light, peace, and joy wherever we are. Unity of Missoula maintains a circle of people who have made a commitment to pray every day for others at their request. If you have names of people to hold in prayer for a month, you may place their names in the prayer box located on the altar or call the church and leave a message with those names. Their names will be sent out to our prayer circle and to Silent Unity for 30 days of prayer. So please join me in prayer for a moment as we hold all of them in our hearts. And you may also now say silently or aloud the names of those you wish to bring into this time of prayer. Dear God, we hold these friends and loved ones in our hearts. We behold their light as expressions of the indwelling Christ. And we release them to your care and affirm divine order in their lives and in ours. Thank you. Amen. And here is Kevin to lead us in the community song, Singing Spirit's Journey.
Thank you, Jermaine. I think you can all remain seated for this song. I think you've heard this one before. Spirit's journey, sailing on the ocean, ocean of oneness, ocean of love. Spirit's journey, learning what we're here for. Here we are together, together in love. We are unity, teaching each other, reaching a hand out, touching a friend. We are unity, growing in wisdom, sharing our vision, growing in love. Spirit's journey, seeing new horizons, setting a course for living the truth. Spirit's journey, unity in motion, sailing on the ocean of love. Thank you.
Well, today's speaker is Jeff Haberman. I know a few things about him. Jeff's been a member of Unity since about 1986. I think that's when we joined the church. And he's worn many hats. He's been on the board. He's been president. He's, of course, really involved in the music ministry. He's an incredible writer of songs, an incredible musician, an actor, thespian. And he also is a very important captain of transporting human cargo to and from school. And those children adore him. So looking forward to what you have to say, honey. It's I always love it. Thanks. Welcome, Jeff.
I like that human cargo. Actually, I really enjoy transporting the wee ones, as I like to call them. So full of wonderment and amazement. First of all, good morning. And good morning to everyone there on YouTube, live streaming. Welcome to Unity. Before I go any further, I'd like to mention in passing, we lost a bright spirit this past week in the personage of Dolly Parton. Just a few words. She was the kind of person that was just so pure in spirit. You know, she was never political. She was never partisan. She was just a manifestation of pure, humanity, of love, and that's all she expressed. And she was fortunate to have had a wonderful, wonderful life and career, and she was quite the philanthropist. And I just admired her so much, not as a woman, but as a human being, of what we're all capable of being. And if anything, I'll remember her for this one saying: "It takes a lot of money to look this cheap." And bless her heart, she was such a spirit, self-deprecating to a fault. And I think her humility really was what made her so beautiful. So God bless Dolly Parton, and may she go on to bless others and wherever she's needed and wanted, and can experience that, and we can take that with us. Okay? Okay. And I always like to start my talks by a statement from the book of Corinthians. It says, "Behold the Christ in you, the hope of glory." And here in Unity, we hold the belief that we work with the inner Christ. Now, whatever that means to you, that's for you to work out. That's part of this free will that we're talking about. That's our Power of the Month, will, and the theme being embracing divine will. And thinking about my talk today, I was reading this and looking at that, and kind of taking things into reflection about divine will and what that means, and embracing or not embracing. And a kind of a made-up Yiddish phrase I've made up. It's very essential. Kind of bare bones simplicity about it. It's like embracing divine will. The Yiddish version would be, some do, some don't. Some will, some won't. So what's the big deal? Get out of here. That's all it is. Okay, I'm done talking. That's very simple, you know. Either you embrace it or you don't. Now, it's not really that simple in terms of an either or proposition when we talk about embracing divine will. And what do we mean by divine will? I'd like to thank all the speakers that have spoken this previous month on the topic of embracing divine will. We had Delinda and Janine, Cheryl Silverman, and of course Michael Panique last week did a wonderful job expressing their own experiences dealing with embracing divine will. And I'm kind of like the cleanup guy who finishes up with the theme, you know, and say, what's left to sweep up here? And how can I tie things up in a nice little bow and send you on your way with, you know, inspiration for embracing divine will? And I over the years, I always like to refer to the founders of Unity, what keeps us Unity, you know, in terms of the writings of Myrtle and Charles Fillmore, and then later Charles's second wife, Cora. But I always go to the revealing word that was put together by Charles Fillmore. And briefly, he says this about, well, in the book it says divine will, see God's will. That's what it said. So I went to the will of God. And briefly, he says this: God's will is always perfection and all good for all his children, perfect health in mind and in body, abundance of every good thing, including joy, peace, wisdom, and eternal life. He does not will suffering or imperfection in any form. The belief that God wills both good and evil is false. The truth is that God is all good, and only good can come to man from him. If man experiences error and inharmony, he brings them upon himself by his failure to harmonize his thoughts, words, and acts with the Lord or divine law. And, you know, Charles, you know, that generation and subsequent generations, you know, speak of, you know, the paternal kind of, you know, reference in terms of him and his. And later on in Unity, we've evolved to more of a concept of not an androgynous kind of figure, as we've expressed before. He's not some guy in the clouds with a white beard throwing lightning bolts at us and all that. And the fact that, you know, that we would adhere to divine will, or it's God's will for this or God's will for that. And, you know, it tends to make you think that our lives are predetermined, or kind of like these little puppets that we, you know, bounce around and react to whatever happens in our lives. But that's not necessarily the case, because we know that we are born with free will. So we have to work with this constant struggle between discerning, using our judgment, to what is divine in our nature and what is not. And usually we work with the polarities of, you know, light and dark. In Unity, we don't think of evil as evil. We just think of it as the absence of good. So we're working with the attitude that we try to connect with our higher selves, or to be constantly working with being in touch with our own Christ, the Christ within, Christ consciousness. You can call it whatever you like. I like to think of it as cosmic consciousness, or as some of the founders said, they said universal consciousness, as opposed to the material world. I'll briefly read you a few things that Charles said about will and God's will or divine will. He goes on to say, it is error for anyone to submit his will to the control of any personality. The personal exercise of will by personal understanding is short-sighted and selfish. Hence, it is never safe to allow oneself to be led by the direction or advice of another. Practice the presence of God until you open your consciousness to the inflow of the omnipresent, all-knowing mind. Then affirm your unity with that mind until you know and fully realize through the many avenues of wisdom just what you should do. This acquirement of a knowledge of the divine will not work of an instant. It results from patient and persistent spiritual study, prayer, and meditation. Even Jesus, with his exalted understanding, found it necessary to pray all night. All who have found the peace and power of God have testified to the peace and the power of God, have testified to the necessity of using prayer in the soul's victory. So he's talking about the fact that it's your choice how you want to connect with the divine within you and understand the difference between what your ego wants and what is better for you in terms of your divine self. And he summarizes this: will, as exercised by man, is the negative pole of the great executive force of the universe. The recognition of this in silent meditation opens the will to the inflow of this mighty moving principle, and the power that moves to action the members of the body reaches into the invisible realm of ideas and controls the elements. It was this comprehension of the will universal, here's that word again, that enabled Jesus to say to the wind and waves, "Peace, be still." Amazing. You know, I think about the fact that Jesus said, "These things I've done, and you could do so much more." And it seems as Jesus is a way shore, challenges us to reach towards a higher standard of connecting with our divinity and embracing the divine will. And there has to be, you know, a willingness to do that. We, because of our ego selves, there tends to be a resistance. In Orthodox theology and theological thinking, they call it the devil or Satan in terms of Western Christianity. But later on, in terms of New Thought, we think of more of as, Jesus even called it the adversary or adversity, the things that block us from our flow to the divine. So what we have to do is make the choice and say, the choices I'm making, does this allow me to free flow to connect with the Christ within me, or is it creating blockage and creating adversity and challenges and, you know, causing the suffering and the pain that we experience because we have an inability or we have a willfulness not to connect. And that's a choice that we can consciously make in terms of being conscious. I like to quote also Cora later on. She wrote in the second book of the 12 Powers, Christ enthroned in man. And Cora is a little more simplistic. Charles would get into some cosmic metaphysical word salad, as they say. And it was kind of, you have to really work through his language a lot of times to comprehend what he was saying. But his principles and ideas are still the core truth of what it meant to restore the Christ within us and be regenerative. He believed in the regeneration of ourselves. towards a perfect Christ, a perfect man and woman, humankind. But Cora goes on to say this about will. We have gradually drifted away from our central I am into the outer realms of consciousness until today we dwell largely in the night of our minds. We have become involved in external entanglements and confusion until our consciousness has lost the real power of spirit. We have become willful, which is the cause of much of our suffering. We have lost almost all conception of what it is to hear and to heed the voice of the indwelling Lord or Christ. We look to man-made laws and to man's opinions as standards of living and think that in worldly affairs there is no place for religion. The affairs of the world have been carried on independent of the higher powers until today. Our civilization is approaching chaos. Well, she wrote this back in the 30s, I think it was. So approaching chaos. I think we can see today if you listen to the radio or watch television news that it's what's going on in this world. My gosh. So you have to find a way to divorce yourself, detach from that, and focus on towards embracing divine will as you understand it, the divine of your understanding. And everyone's experience with what the divine is for themselves is totally unique. I cannot experience the divine behind your eyes as you can't experience the divine behind my eyes. It is all uniquely our own, and what we do with it, what we think, believe, and experience. That's part of it. And what for me, what says to me is that it's really largely dependent on another ability of faith, belief in those things unseen, but yet we know to be true for ourselves, having the faith that things work out. Today's daily word, let go, let God. It is a part and attached to the whole idea of divine order, divine will, divine order. It's a natural unfoldment. We resist that. So rather than embracing divine will, our ego minds want to resist because we resist because of losing. We have a fear of losing control. Something's going to chaos and we have no control over it. But this is where I'm saying faith has a place of replacing that. It keeps us anchored in terms of our spiritual journey towards a higher selves, the Christ within. And Chorus has this, lastly. Divine will is the mediator between God and us. It operates between the inner realms of mind and the outer manifestation. Among the apostles of Jesus Christ, Matthew symbolizes the will, the executive power of the mind. He was a tax collector who sat at the gate and exacted tribute from those who passed through. Divine will, Matthew, together with its twin faculty, divine understanding, which was Thomas, known as Doubting Thomas, operates in the forehead, the front of the brain. Every high spiritual realization, be it a realization of love, of power, or whatnot, should be gently brought to the attention of these twin faculties, the will and the understanding, because they make connection between the invisible world of thought and the outer world of manifestation. So that's why in Unity, we really strongly believe in the practice of prayer and meditation. No matter where you are, you can always take a moment to stop and connect. You can be in the middle of a crowd and still be totally alone with the God of your understanding. If you're finding yourself in a situation where you're at a loss for what to do, or what to think, or what's happening, or you're challenged by a certain situation, we have the power and the ability to be able to be still and know that God is in you and in everywhere. You know, I tend to think of God not as an analogous human presence, but a larger presence, being omnipotent and omnipresent in everything and everyone. And we are fishes. I like to say we are fishes swimming in the ocean of God. And as we mentioned in our congregational song today, the ocean of God is love, of course. So we have that in terms of our commonality of spirit, which brings us together in unity. We are one. Once we can get past our ego selves and realize that when we walk through these doors, we're coming in here, yes, to reaffirm our faith in our spiritual journey, but also to be able to be willing to accept the ability that we have to transcend our ego selves into a higher place where we can see the Christ within each and every one of us and know that everything is okay, you know, that you are cared for, you are loved, you know, things will work out ultimately. I think, you know, in terms of my ego mind, I make plans and think about strategies and get lost in a lot of what ifs, what if that, and project. And then, you know, maybe take action here and there, and it kind of works, but doesn't kind of work out as I kind of expected. And so when I released that, the idea of holding on to what I thought would work and let go and let God, as the Daily Word says today, the results are much more perfect than I could ever conceived of. I said, that's a miracle. How did that happen? But it happened. It just happened because I was able to be open to the possibilities. In her book, Divine Audacity, Linda Martella kind of does an update on the 12 powers and abilities and how they all kind of work together. We work as they all work to build up to the ultimate model of being the most perfect person you can be, or, you know, at any given time where we're working on our spiritual path to be a better person, to be a better Christ, as they say. She breaks will into three aspects. The first being choice, the second being commitment, and the third being willingness. Now, in choice, it's an interesting thing, as I mentioned. There are such a multitude of possibilities that we make choices every day. Some consciously and a lot unconsciously. We make choices like in terms of what are we going to wear, what are we going to eat, you know. Things are like, we don't really make choices of how my heart's going to beat or how my lungs are going to breathe. That's kind of an automatic kind of biological thing in terms of our brain. But other choices are more conscious in terms of, you know, decisions we make that we have to choice. And we can consider consequences of our choices. Sometimes we don't consider our consequences, and sometimes our choices lead to unintended consequences. And that way we kind of realize that we're kind of off rails. We took a detour without realizing, reading the sign saying, this is a detour, Jeff. Get back on the road here and get back on the path. But it's a choice I make consciously, and then that's how I learn. I think it's how we all learn in terms of the choices we've made. So it's very important to be able to discern and understand the choices we make in terms of realizing the difference between what I want when I want it, as opposed to what is the will of a higher good, or what would be better for my higher good, and try to connect with that synchronicity of divine presence within me and stay true to that. So it's kind of like, it's a codependency in terms of between that distance between my ego self and my spiritual self. And that's an ongoing tension that we all work with in terms of our own presence of mind and sense of the consciousness of God within us and God without us. So we have those abilities to choice. Second is commitment. A commitment we can say all these wonderful things and, conceptualize, what we're going to do. And, but it's the commitment. It's like, at the end of the day, it's, oh, I forgot to do this for my spiritual practice. So you get up and do whatever you have to do, you remember it, so you're staying you're committed to your choice making. And this is where your choices get actualized, by staying committed to the choice you make. And you know when it's right or not. We kind of talk about intuition, our gut feeling with the choices we make. We know when it feels right, and we know when it feels wrong. And so when we commit to that choice, we know we're in alignment with our higher selves, with trying to stay in touch with our Christ consciousness. And then lastly, she talked about willingness. And the distinction between willingness and willfulness, it's that same difference in terms of this struggle between our ego mind and God mind, or the divine mind, or universal mind, as the founders talked about. Willingness is that ability to let go and let God, and be willing to open up to the possibilities, and not after so many setbacks and disappointments and frustrations. I think your spiritual self's okay. You done? Are you done yet, Jeff? Can you consider this possibility of like letting go and letting God, kind of show you a different way of looking at things? And when I do that, things are in better alignment, and because I'm willing to let go of my willfulness. That's more of a kind of a stubborn obstinacy that I have in my mind, that resists change for fear of losing control, as I mentioned before. So that willingness is a part of being adaptable and flexible for our human spirituality as we work on our spiritual path and we go forward. So, embracing divine will is like, some do, some don't, some will, some won't. It's really kind of almost a matter of black and white, and there's not a gray area, because it works and it doesn't work. And embracing is kind of like I look for a way to integrate my ego self with my spiritual self. Therefore, in that transcendence of that, I'm transformed, I'm restored, I'm in a better frame of mind to my possibilities of being a better person and having a better day, or whatever it is in terms of what I bring to all my affairs in my day-to-day living. And hopefully I can, as Linda Martin Taylor Wisdom says, dare to be a light, letting your light shine. You can't tell anybody anything. They have to experience themselves. All I can be is try to be a model of the light that's within me. When I'm feeling bright and illuminated, then hopefully people see that, and I see that in other people, in terms of their light, their spiritual nature. I can see that. I can see the little Christ in you. I can see the little Buddha in you. I can see the little, whatever it is you want to call it. But I know it's there, that spark of divinity that we all carry through our entire lifetime, from our first breath to our last breath, and everything in between. It's always there with us. We're never alone. We're never abandoned. We are always in the presence of a living, loving God. So I hope you appreciate my sentiments and feelings in terms of embracing divine will. And thanks for listening. We're going to do a little meditation. Thank you. A couple weeks ago, I sang a song that I wrote basically around the theme of embracing divine will. And later on, I kind of was thinking about it, and this wasn't my intention, but the feeling of that song was kind of like an amalgama between John Lennon's Imagine and Paul McCartney's Let It Be, in terms of the feel of it. You know, it was kind of like an opening up and a letting go, and like, the world will live as one, and show me the way, let it be, let it be. So I would like to incorporate this as a meditation today. So I invite you to close your eyes and envision yourself in the most peaceful, restful place that you can be within yourself, and come into the presence of the divine. And know that God is within you, within everyone, everywhere, all the time, present. And let these words resonate. Light my path. Show me the way. Your will is mine. Right here, today. Keep shining on, so I may see your living truth that sets me free. Light my path. Show me the way. Your will is mine, right here today. Keep shining on, so I may see your living truth that sets me free. With loving grace, I take each step. My walk with you are blessings kept. My path is clear. I will abide in knowing you are by my side. Light my path. Show me the way. Your will is mine, right here today. Keep shining on, so I may see your living truth that sets me free. Indeed, the living truth that sets me free. And in knowing this, the presence will always be. I will abide in your peace, your love, your joy, the blessings of your creation, large and small. And this day, let it be a blessing to all we meet, to all we have associations with, in all our affairs. Let our light shine. Let our path become crystal clear, that we walk with the Christ's presence within us, now and always. Thank you, Divine Spirit. So we pray. Amen and amen. Ooh, okay. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. But right now, before we move on, we're going to do our prayer of protection. And everyone knows that, but I'll switch it over here on the computer. Jermaine, could you do me a favor? On the mouse, just click. Click the mouse. Yeah, on the left. On the left. Oh. Okay, here we go. Ready? The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. We are love. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. We are one. Let's go ahead and form our circle and sing our peace song. That's right. Dry them out. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as our creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Yes, indeed, let it begin with you. That's where it starts. It's a choice we make. Let peace be with you and in you and for each other. And remember, as you go forth, embracing divine will as best you can, no matter what, remember to have fun. Thank you, everyone.